Hey everybody, this is Courtney with Pieces Love and Quilting. I am interviewing Sewing with Lawayne. How are you today, Mr. Lawayne?
Oh,
Yes.
but you're talking to them. I'm doing great. A little nervous. I've never done a live interview. Excited at the same time.
It'll be a few minutes before. Here we go. We got Donna. Thank
Hey,
you, Donna.
guys.
So, Lawayne, can you tell me a little bit about you and how you got into sewing?
Um, I started about 7 years ago. Kind of selfish, I admit. My mother has been quilting since like the mid 70s, and she made me my first quilt. I call it my traveling quilt. In 2000. Um, and then for my 40th birthday, she gave me a quilt, and then my 45th birthday, she gave me a quilt. Um, then both my sisters and my niece live close or with her, so they were getting all my mom's quilts, and I'm like, well, heck, I'll just make my own. So I started watching YouTube and I bought me a simple little brother sewing machine, the non-computer. Learned how to thread it. Uh, I joined a couple of groups on Facebook, and they taught me a lot. And they sent me tons of fat quarters, so I didn't have to worry about buying fabric. And then from there, I just started self-taught, and then I've just been going ever since then.
What is your most favorite pattern you like to work with?
That's a good favorite pattern. I'm very simple. As you can see, I just do squares. Favorite pattern. I don't think I really have one. Like I said, if I see something I like, I just do it. I don't really follow a pattern.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of other questions. I didn't even really write them down.
Hi, Patty. Hi, Maria.
Go for it.
I was just reading the comments, saying hi to everybody.
Everybody's saying hi. Hi, Patty. Hi, Marie. Hi, Donna. We are just interviewing and we're having a little chit chat, getting to know Mr. Lawayne, and he also has a channel. And I wanted to help him get some subscribers. So I figured this way you guys can know him and ask him questions.
Yes, believe it or not, I do have a channel because it's kind of hard to comment on videos and lives if you don't have a channel. How long have you been coaching? Since 2015, Donna, for about 7 years now. But I've yet to complete. Well, I take that. I've completed small quilts, but I've never completed a full-size quilt.
She has another question for you. What type of fabric do you really like working with?
Cotton.
I think most of us do work with just mostly cotton. I'm not a big fan of making.
I do like flannel. I'm working on a couple of projects with flannel that I like. But really, what I don't think I've ever worked with. I thought about making a denim quilt because I have some denim pieces, but most I've just been working with cotton.
Well, I know that denim can be hard, but if you have the right needle and tools, you probably make
Yeah.
a quilt.
Well, that's what it was. A friend of mine who passed away about 2 years ago, he gave me a ton of denim squares that um, he had started years before, and he never finished. And I was still fairly new, so I didn't know. So I sent them to my mom. Said, "Can you please put this together?" She still hasn't got it done. So I said, "Well, I think I need to learn how because I have, I didn't really know a needle was a needle to me. I didn't know there was different sized needles. Now I do. So now I know to use a different needle. Um,
Needle you would need for jeans, jeans needle.
yeah.
Donna has another question. What has been the hardest pattern to date?
Uh, I guess it was I guess it was the tumbler because I had to cut out each one, and then it was the first time I'd ever done it, and making sure that they lined up, and it came out, but it came out okay.
Yeah. And then you have another question from Mary Jane. And hello. Do you have a color that you love to use the most?
Blues and reds.
So my other question is, did you love doing what you're doing right now? I noticed that you're doing an August challenge.
Yeah, I'm doing the colorblind. I don't know if y'all have heard of him or seen him, but the colorblind quilter. He has been he hadn't been doing anything for about the last month or two, and he decided he's going to do a 15-minute, at least 15 minutes a day challenge just to do something sewing or quilting related. And he asked some of us if we'd be interested in doing it. And he's doing that over on his Instagram. And I was like, perfect. That gets me back into the groove because I kind of got out because I got busy with other things. And then these were the first two things. Took a little bit more than 15 minutes to do them. But yeah, I'm doing the August quilting challenge, which, like I said, you do 15 minutes a day, or if you don't want to do more, if you want, of sewing. But the deal is there's no cleaning, no organizing. It's either sewing, pressing, or whatever. So, and it's been fun so far.
Do you love doing the quilting?
Yeah. Well, I haven't done the actual quilting yet because I have a one bedroom, small 1 bedroom. So when I quilt, it's like on a lap quilt or small quilt. I just don't have room, so to speak, to quilt a full size quilt.
That's understandable. If you have any other questions, you may pop them in as we chit chat, and I'll read them out to Lawayne for you. So besides quilting, do you have?
Catherine, be careful when you're driving.
Yeah, please. Do you have a specific kind of quilting that you do on your lap quilts and stuff?
Like I said, small quilts, lap quilts I can do, but anything bigger than that, I've sent to my mother to have her long arm quilter do it. But I would like to learn how to do free motion quilting, and I'm looking into buying I can't think of the name of it. It's the Brothers quilting machine because the throat is much bigger and it's actually made for quilting. And I want to get one of those.
Is it the Brother Lemire?
It's PS 500 LS or something. Somebody showed it on Facebook last night, and I'm like, yes, that's the one I need. But it's like $800. So it's like a little out of the budget right now.
Donna has now 3 questions for you. And I believe you just already answered the first one. Do you do your own quilting on your domestic? And then the second one is, what type of machine do you use?
Right now, all of my machines are Brothers. And right now I'm using XR 9550. But I fell in love with the first computerized one was the CSI 6000. I can never remember if that's the right. But I fell in love with them because it's like I'm real bad using the pedal when I first started out. So having the button to start and stop, I was like, yes, I love it. So I could start. But now I've gotten back to using the pedal and, really. So that's the two machines I have right now.
And the other one is, do you have, and outside of quilting, what other activities do you like doing?
I make soap. I'm a soap maker. And I'm doing at least 4 different community organizations that I'm involved in. And right now I'm working with my guild. I have been appointed the chair to do the quilt design layout for our upcoming show in March. I have no idea what I'm doing. I don't, and nobody will tell me. I'm like, okay. So finally I got a hold of the last person that did it. She said, well, basically you're just deciding where the quilts go in the show. I'm like, well, why didn't they just tell me that?
Yeah.
So, but
difficult if you don't.
the show doesn't start till March. So my job really doesn't start until like December when they start sending them in. However, the cutoff for the deadline of sending them in is 2 weeks before the show. So I have 2 weeks between the deadline and before the show starts to finalize all of the placements. However, I'm gone. I'm going to QuiltCon the last week of February, which is the cutoff date. So I'm like, I have like a week to do this. I'm like, ugh. But other than that.
And they want to know about your soap thing that you do.
They're all handmade. How do you explain soap making? There's code process, which use like a just mix it together. But I've always used the melt and pour, which is the base is already made, and then you just cut it into cubes, heat it up, and then you mix in your fragrances, which is all natural. And I like to use either shea butter, olive oil, or goat's milk as for the base of the soap, and then all natural fragrance. And one of my favorite, which I'm going to laugh because I love the name, it's Monkey Fart. It's Monkey Fart's fragrance. So that's what got me into making soap was some of the funky names that they have. And I've been doing that for about 10 years, and I have not bought a store-bought piece of soap since. And
is it better than the store-bought because of the natural, the chemical?
I think it is because it like I said, it's all natural ingredients. There's no additives, and I found it lasts a lot longer than store-bought. I mean, I've got bars of soap I've had for 5 years. I haven't used them yet, but they're still, and the fragrance is still there.
That's awesome. I don't know if I have any other questions, but other than, what are your plans and future for your channel?
I'd like to get to at least 50 people, and I'd like to know who those people are. That's I'm sorry. Yeah, I may sound grouchy or everything, but I want to know who my subscribers are, and their subscriptions are turned off. So, that's just me. Um,
I think most of us that are YouTubers do want to know so that they can at least say thank you to them specifically, like you wanted to. But some of us may not. But I know I would love to know who all of mine are, like you are.
yeah, and like I said, I want to go to at least 50 people. That'd be nice, if not bigger. Um, what more do I want with the channel? Whew. I never thought about because I'm just me. I'm like,
Yeah.
uh,
I watch your videos. I sit there and I am like watching them because you're just being you.
yeah,
That's what I like, sitting down and watching Donna, Shirley, all these other people who have YouTube. That's all that matters to me.
yeah,
Be you.
yeah. Because I get frustrated. I see all these channels. They have all this fancy equipment and editing, and I'm like, I don't have that. I mean, I use my laptop computer camera or finally found a stand for my cell phone to use. Um, so I'm kind of envious of all these people. It's like, you have all this fancy equipment and everything. So someday I'd like to get to that point where it's like, hey, I need a backlight. I need, the filter. And so,
I know that feeling. I'm only using what I have. And like, I got this camera because I was going to record. A lot of people inspired me to become a YouTuber.
yeah.
Did anybody inspire you to be one too?
Well, like I said, I go back to almost the original, to when YouTube started. But I wasn't a quilter back then. I was just a regular run-of-the-mill vlogger, just running around the city, making videos. It's only within the last couple of years that I actually narrowed it down to quilting, because I used to have, I used to be the resale hobo, because I was into resale. Well, I still do reselling. Um, so I was making all my videos about, going to the thrift store, going to the garage sales, going to the flea market. And then I started doing quilting, and I had the channels combined. And I'm like, finally, I wanted to separate them. And luckily, like I said a couple of weeks ago, I don't know what happened. My internet, Xfinity, it went out for like 6 hours, and I was on the computer. And when I came back, my channel was gone. I was like, what happened? So I said, well, that gives me a chance to start a new channel and start over. So
Hi, Nancy.
what was the question again?
It was, what your plan for future of what you're going to do?
Yeah, just to grow the channel, and help out in the community however I can. Because I'd love to make some blocks for what Donna's doing with the quotes that she's doing. But I confess I'm very self-conscious about what I make, because to me, I call them a mess. Everything I make, it's one of my messes. It's one of my little, and everybody's like, no, I'm like, to me, it's not perfect. So I'm a little hesitant to send things out to other people, but I want to get to the point where I can do that, to contribute to other channels with the projects that they're doing.
Yeah. My other question is, do you see yourself as a YouTuber to collab with other YouTubers to do projects together and teach?
You were breaking up there a little.
Okay, so do you plan to collab with other YouTubers so that you can do projects with them.
I would love to do that. I would love to collaborate with other people. Because like Sobek, Tiffany, and Sean, the guy that quilts, I would love to collaborate with him one day. Because when you asked me to do the interview, I was like, wow, really me? She was interviewing me? Like, little old me. But yeah.
And I agree with Donna. Quilting is simply perfect love. It doesn't have to be perfect to me. As long as I get a seam in, I'm good.
Well, somebody once asked me the old, do you open your seams or do you close them? And I've always said, for me, if I'm making a quilt, I know it's just going to be for me. I open the seams because I don't, it's for me. I don't care. But if I know I'm making a quilt for somebody else, I try to do a little bit, better. It's like, okay, do I make sure the seams are, right and closed or stuff like that.
The other question is, do you press dark if you do it for other people?
I do it. I press it open for me, and I close them for other people.
Okay.
But no one's really asked. No one's really asked for a quilt yet. Just the quilts that I've made, I've given away to friends. It's like, here, I've got so many quilts, because before I actually started quilting, I was a quilt collector. I'm still a quilt collector. I would go to when I was in my reselling, I'd go, everybody else is looking at, the rest of the stuff. Me, I head right to the fabric and look for the quilts. So I started collecting quilts, and then I'd go online and collect quilts, and then I started collecting blocks, and so I was a quilt collector before I became a quilter. So that was one of the reasons, like, okay, I want to make my own quilts. What can I do to make a quilt? And when I went to QuiltCon in February, I was like a kid in a candy store. I was like, oh, I can do that one. Oh, I could do that one. Oh, maybe I could do that one. It's like, and because I was thinking,
or like a kid in a candy store when it comes to quilt cons and quilt fairs and quilt shops. So we're just like, I spent.
Because most of the shows that I've seen, it's like the quilts, they're a piece, to me, that's artwork. That wasn't a quilt. It's like, how do you use that quilt? You wouldn't see that quilt on a bed. So seeing quilts, it's like, hey, I could actually do that. I could actually make that. I could actually use that, is very inspiring to me.
Yeah. Does anybody else have some questions for Lawayne? And if you have not checked Lawayne's channel, please check him out. Show him love. That's what I'm doing here today, is having him here so that we can help him grow as well. Anything else you'd like to say?
Hi, Nancy. Yeah, Nancy's very good about checking out my videos.
That's good. My other question is, anything else you want to add to help them get to know you?
I'm a Texan. I'm originally from Dallas. Moved to San Francisco about 12 years ago for my health. I have an older sister that lives in Kansas, which I'm going to be using as an excuse to go to the Kansas City Quilt Show in, I think, is it March of next year?
Yeah.
June.
Because I'm actually going as well.
So I'm going to use the excuse, well, I'm going to go see my sister and do the quilt show at the same time.
And maybe we could be up there together and we could say we met in person and give them the tour of Kansas City quilt show together.
And
Beth Goody Goods is also going for that one
yeah.
too. So.
And my quilting style is free, whatever it's like whatever
Comes to
I can see a pattern. I look at a quilt, and I've noticed I immediately start breaking it down. Okay, where's that square? How can you? Or I when I'm out and about, there's this one section, the Haight Ashbury. Some of the walls they're painted, I'm like, that would make a great quilt. That would make a great quilt. So, but what else about me? Believe it or not, I'll be 60 next year. I don't want to. I'm getting up there. I used to have a puppy dog, but I lost him 3 years ago. So you hear me every now and then. I've talked about on my old channel. I talked about my baby dog. I mean, it's hard to when like when you don't. It's hard to talk about yourself when you're like, well, who am I? What am I? Like, how do I explain myself to somebody?
Yeah. Well, the other thing is, at my endings, I always says, be kind, be unique, be creative, and be you. Because the more reality we show of us on YouTube, the more that they're going to like us for who we are, not for the pretend of us. And I love watching your channel since you've been adding videos and since I found you in the chat.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I'm going to come over and watch. Are you going to ever do any of the projects you get from Fat Quarter Shop? I know you get those bucks. I don't know if you still do.
Actually, I stopped getting them. I got 3 boxes, and no, I haven't started any of them yet. That's the problem. I watch videos and I see a project. I'm like, oh, I want to do that. And then I'm like, oh, I want to do this. So I have so many projects up here in my head that I want to do.
Being 100% true to yourself.
So all those projects, they're still in the boxes. And I missed month 3? Yeah, I missed month 3 of the new one. So I'm like, well, I'm out of the loop now anyway. So, but I still have box 1, 2, and 4. But most of my projects, I make up my own projects.
Well, you got to do what fits your personality and you. And I know that I like to follow patterns, but I also like to design. Do you like to design your own patterns?
Yeah.
Besides on a quilt and looking at it and figuring it out.
Like I said, I look at other quilts and I'm like I start breaking. I'm like, okay, how can I do this, or what can I do a little bit different? Because like I said, the tumbler quilt, I've been seeing two people doing that, and I'm like, okay. I don't remember if somebody gave me the tumbler ruler or someone, but I had that, and I'm like, well, okay, I'm going to go out of my comfort zone, and I'm going to try to do this. And I had a charm pack, and I'm like, well, that'd be cute. And so I cut them up and sewed them together, and I'm like, hey, that was fun. That was easier than I thought it was. But I'm still curves. Nope. I don't even want to try it.
I'm scared of them. So
Yeah.
I would.
And what would help me is, like I said, I learned to sew from YouTube, which I don't know about any, but I'm sure a good number of people, Jenny from Missouri Start, that's who they first found for quilting, because her quilt they were so easy. I'm like, wow, it looks so, you look at it, it's like, wow, I can't do it. And then the way she breaks it down, it's like, hey, I can do it. And then I found Donna from Jordan Fabrics. I'm like, who I can do that. And then lately, yeah, with Tiffany, yeah, I can never. If it's Tiffany Quilting, I can never. I know them by their name. I don't know channel names, but Tiffany. It's like, okay, well, she was doing her 25 block, which gave me the idea for this one because she did the 25 blocks. She did like 92 blocks over a long period. And I'm like, well, I can do that. And then Eric from Treasure Hearts, he's been doing his 52. Some of them I'm like, no, I pass. No, you can keep it. Others like, okay, I can do that. So learning from other quilters has been a big help. It's like, okay, I can, if they can do it, I can at least give it a shot. If I don't like it, I can rip it apart. I can retry it. Until the final seam is in, I can take it apart. That's the way I look at it.
My other question is, would you ever get in foundation paper piecing?
I actually, early on, I did the, I can't remember, is it the cupcake, the little cupcake pattern? Somebody sent me those. I did about 5 of those, and I'm like, no. I like them because in the beginning that helped me learn how to sew straight and make this. But I'm more like, I just like to sew it on my own because I do a lot of scrappy quilting, so I just sew them any other way that so. But after watching Beth the last 2 times, I'm like, I might check back into foundation paper.
I am actually starting a series of foundation paper piecing. So we're going for 100 blocks so that we can make a full quilt. Or they can make their own pillows for individual family members. I've told them if they wanted to, if they found free FPP for me to do, I'll do them for them.
Yeah.
And
because
so
Beth did the Beth, yeah, she did the Clifford the Red Dog, and I'm like, no, okay, I'm not that advanced. Even if I did it sewing, I'm like, no, I couldn't do that. But I would like to get to the point where I could do something like that.
okay. But I'm like I said, my videos will be up for you if you ever want to get into it.
Yeah.
Anybody have questions? Patty says, I agree. Put it together. I will take it out. LOL. From your if it didn't work out for you, and she subscribed to you, Lawayne.
Thank you, Patty. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. And to let y'all know, what you see on the videos, that's me. That's me. That the goofy, grumpy, happy, that's just me.
Is being you and
get
creative mind. I know that a while back I did a placemat of my own design, and that's when they started learning that I'm going to be designing a bunch of different patterns. And so that is the main part, is we need to be real. We don't need someone who's going to be fake for our subscribers to feel like we're being fake to them. I don't think Lawayne goes live. He records video.
This is my first so-called live. Because like I said, this is a new channel, and I think you have to have at least 1,000 subscribers to go live. I mean, I don't know, because they keep changing the rules on us almost every day. So I don't know.
You do not have to have 1,000 subscribers. You just have to get your links, click go live, and you have to have a 24-hour period so that they can look at your
Okay.
account, and if you have no strikes, you go live whenever you want. I didn't even, I had like 20, 30 when I first started going live.
And Patty, to be honest, I'd be afraid to go live that nobody'd show up. That's just me, because I'm like, will they really show up? Will they like it's just me? Why would but yeah, I've thought about it. When I had the old channel, because like I said, I had 1,800, so by my rules in my head that I could have gone live.
But if it would make you feel
Thank
more
you.
comfortable, I would be willing to collab with you, and we could do some lives together to get you in a comfort zone, so you know how it all works with you. And sometimes you can tweak it and all that. And if you ever need to learn about stuff, there's a video on my channel for closed caption and subscribers only thing. Because like I read closed caption. That's why Donna makes sure they're on, because I can read them with my hearing. Patty says, I think
Everybody does.
Sponge to soak it all up. I think everybody is a sponge to try to soak up anything that they can learn from all of us. And it's all about all of us in our community to be a teamwork. It's not to go against each other. We're trying to help each other, and that's
Yeah.
Uh,
And plus, if I went live, I would be talking, because when I'm in somebody else's room and they're doing a live, and I want to talk to everybody in the chat. It's like I want to answer everybody. I'm like, no, I need to hold back, because somebody asks a question. And I'm like, okay, do I answer that, or do I wait for the host to answer that question? Because sometimes the questions, they go by so quick that the host doesn't get to see them.
I love closed captions options. I wish others would have it. I know, Patty. That's one of my biggest things. Is it's hard for me to watch and understand if I don't have that with my half hard of hearing, half deaf. So, and that's why I ended up figuring it out for all of you guys, so that for the YouTubers, so that if they want to use that option, they can. And Lawayne, if you're ever in my chat and you know a little bit more about me, because as you go on, you're more than welcome to answer those questions for me if I don't catch them. And I'll do the same as we get to know each other, so that we can help each other. It's all about being a community.
Oh, did y'all see can y'all read that?
It's always a good day to quilt.
Yep.
So
before I left for QuiltCon, I found a company on Etsy that makes quilting T-shirts. So I bought like 4 T-shirts. So I had a different T-shirt for every day.
There you go.
So.
Anybody else has questions? I think Lawayne answered pretty much everything I had for some of the subscribers, and you kind of talked about a little bit more of you. I don't see any other questions yet. And it takes a moment to come on to the restream. But I do know that it's about being a community, and I was watching Lawayne, and he explained why he got locked out of his Other, and I felt really bad, and I thought I'd help him get everybody to know him so that you guys can actually subscribe to him.
That's true. Because
Yes,
a lot of times, I will click on the closed caption just to. A lot of times, I can't understand what some people are saying. It's like,
yeah. Some go too fast for me, and I can't catch it. Just like in some music words, I can't catch.
Yeah.
I went completely different.
In some videos, they've got the background music. A lot of times I can't hear over the music, so I turn it like, oh, okay, that's what they were saying. Or they were explaining something. I'm like, huh? So I put I rewind, put the caption on, read what they were like. Okay, that's what they were trying to explain.
I guess there is a new way of putting, like instead of a chat, you can read the transcriber after the live is over, so that you can see what they're saying. If you wanted to be able to link it up. Hi, Miss Ellen. She changed her name to Campbell's Creation, Learning to Quilt.
No.
I hope I'm here to help him get some subscribers, and so that everybody knows who he is. So you guys don't thinking about who is this person, and now you know he has a YouTube.
That name looks familiar.
It's Miss Ellen.
Yeah. Well, I'm subscribed to I think like 150 different channels. So I'm like, okay, am I subscribed? Who's that one? Because a lot of the, I come into a lot of the lives and they'll be calling somebody by their first name, and I'm like, oh, is that their name? I know them by the channel name.
She says she watched you.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And I love when people misspell my name. They're like, Lawayne. I'm like, no, I'm Lawayne. The W is not capitalized. There's not a second or a third A.
I know, and I apologize. I think after.
Oh, you're not the only one who's done that. And I'm like, after a while, I'm like, okay, I just let it slide. I'm like, okay, whatever. But
I know
there is one person every time it's Lawayne. I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna let it slide. So,
I know. I love people.
Any questions, Ellen?
My name gets misspelled sometimes, and I do shorten it for CJ. It's either I could go by Courtney or CJ. I've been grown up with name CJ for the whole entire life, and still to this day, my parents call me CJ instead of Courtney.
Well, I mean, that was like Donna was promoting. She was promoting this interview, and she said, Lawayne, I don't know his last. She said, I don't know his last name. And I'm like, that's because I've never said my last name. A lot of people think Lawayne is my last name. And I'm like, no.
Brenda says hello from Kentucky. How do you spell your name, please?
Lawayne.
And it's in his, when you watch his videos and you're on his channel, it's there as well.
Yeah.
And that's when I caught on, and I was misspelling immediately, and I felt bad. I try really hard to spell right, but with the hearing and the pronunciation, I will always catch an extra vowel somewhere.
And for decades, I assumed I was the only Lawayne. Come to find out, no, there's other Lawaynes. And then people ask, well, where did you get that name? I'm like, I have no idea. My parents. The best I've figured out, my father wanted to name me after his best friend. My mother wanted to name me after John Wayne. Well, his name was Larry, so that's where they got the Larry. And then the I think they just added to Wayne. So that's the best I've figured it out.
There you go. I know families try to figure out our names when we're being born. And, like, I didn't have a father figure in my life. So I have my uncle, who was my father figure, and they were trying to figure out my name before I was born. So I know that kind of feeling. Because I was doing the same thing with my kid.
Yeah. I've asked many people, oh, are you French? I'm like, no. Like, well, Lawayne, I'm like, hey, I'm Scottish, Irish. I'm a UK mutt, okay? But I did find out I do have French, but it's like 10 generations back.
Yeah. If you have any other questions, I think I'm good on questions. I think you've kind of explained yourself.
I'm good on answers.
I really enjoyed doing this with you, and I thank you for doing this.
Thank you for doing. Oh, what made you? What made you late?
What have you made lately?
Oh, what have I made late? Oh, I thought my
Yeah, cutting
Uh,
it off.
right now these 2 blocks, and while doing that, I'm very good at leader enders. So I have these that I was sewing together for my leader enders, and I just gradually put them together. And because it was asked earlier, I'm doing the August quilting challenge. So I try to do something at least 15 minutes a day, sewing or quilting related. So no major projects are in the works right now, just simple little things to get me back into sewing. Because, like I said, earlier, I don't know if you was here, I sit on 4 community boards. So we have meetings, almost some kind of meeting every day. So I'm like, okay, finding that 15 minutes, okay, I can do that. And a lot of times I'm like, okay, I need to do this. And then it's like, okay, I don't, as somebody once put it, when my hobby becomes my job, I lose interest. I don't want to lose interest. So I don't force myself to actually make something or do something.
She says, awesome. I need to try that. As I enjoyed this interview. I know this was my very first one to do, but out of my sweet, kind heart, and like I've always said, I always have a big heart. I always want to help others, and that's why I invited Lawayne so that you guys can get to know him, subscribe to him. It would be a huge thank you for willing to subscribe to him because I want to help him grow. As much as I've grown with friends helping and all, I wanted to help him as well and become a good friend with him as well.
Well, I have a question. What would y'all like to see on my channel? What would y'all like to see me do?
That's a good question. I would let that be. Brenda says exactly. It's a release. No fun as a job, and I can see that. That's why I do. I do my long arm services and my embroidery. I still work on my own projects on my own time. Or if the machine's doing my work, I play with my own projects and create my own quilt designs. So it doesn't affect me to where I don't lose interest to it. What is his channel of your name? It's Sewing with Lawayne. And I will be putting it in the description box below. And give me a second and I will pull his up and give you the link.
Okay, yeah, I can do that. Because like I said earlier, Ellen, I don't have the fancy camera equipment, so I can. Because like I said, I use my computer, my laptop desk camera, but I've also learned. I recently got a holder for my phone, so I'm going to try to make tutorial learning blog, whatever you call them, videos, so that I can set my camera next to my sewing machine. So yeah, I would love to teach y'all how to do scrappy blocks.
Is your phone newer? That's me. Got your channel link in there.
What is newer?
Like, is your phone currently up to date? Because maybe I could teach you
Oh,
a
it's
app with your computer and your phone.
it's
That work.
iPhone 11.
Okay.
Instead of 12.
Maybe after we get off here, I'll show you an app that will help you with that, so you don't have to stress yourself pulling. It's basically like another camera, but it's you when you do your recording and stuff, you can add it to your recordings or do it with your lives.
Yeah.
Miss Ellen says teaching how to make blocks scrappy style.
Yep.
And she doesn't have cameras either. She
Yeah.
uses her computer. And it's all about using what you have. Basically, I have an iMac that I basically stole from my husband, and he told me yes, I could take it because I need a bigger screen and more space on the counter. But it's all about what you got. I'm
Well,
using that I have.
that's why I got my desktop, because I was on my little Hewlett Packard computer, and I'm like, I need a bigger screen. It's like,
Yeah.
I'm getting older, my eyesight's going. I need a bigger screen. So luckily, I had the credit on Fingerhut, and I'm like, oh, there, I want it. Send it, ship it.
Yeah. Brenda wants you to teach them your leader ender method in cutting up in storage. Yeah.
You just put it in and sew.
It's just you're gonna keep adding fabric, but instead of just running just one fabric and folding it over and getting it again, if I'm right. You just adding fabric as you go.
What do you mean by cutting up? Cutting up the leader enders or
Yeah.
storage? Well, like I said, I live in a small 1-bedroom, so I don't have that much storage. I have
all my cutting up scraps in storage.
90% of all my fabrics are in storage bins, and they're either in my closet or I have a small little closet in my bedroom. I did have them under my bed. I bought 6-inch bed risers to lift up my bed so I could put them all under there. And I'm like, so I finally started whittling down the fabric I had. So now they're just in the tubs in the closets. So that's my storage.
Well, and that's what you got to do. What you have the space for.
Yeah. Because I've had to really be tough on myself. I'm like, okay, do I really need that fabric? Because do I have room for that fabric? I want that fabric. It's like, yes, I want, but it's like, do I really need that?
Yeah.
It's
part of trying to budget or trying to make sure you're not overpowering your space.
Yeah. Well, see, that's why I like the Sew Sampler, because it gave me fabrics, but it also gave me some notions I didn't even realize I needed. Or it's like, wow, hey, cool. I just I think one was like the soluble pen. I'm like, okay. I just bought one, and then they send me the same exact pen. I'm like, cool. Now I have 2 of them.
Yeah.
And then a tape measure. I use regular tape measure. I didn't even know I needed. I'm like, because I've always used the measuring that's on my table.
Yeah.
But on my sewing table, it has the measurements.
If you have any other questions, because I think we're good. I think they'll watch the video, and
An hour's a good.
I help you out as much as I could, but I know I can't guarantee what happens from here. But I wanted to help you out and get them to know you, and hopefully they'll come see you and see what you create. I know Miss Ellen says teaching how to make blocks scrappy style. is kind of like your kind of thing,
Yeah.
probably. So she's wanting to see that.
Well, I mean, as you can see, there's no rhyme or reason.
Yeah.
They're just. This was from my guild had a free table like 3 weeks ago, and I found two piles. It said they were 5-inch charm squares. They're not 5 inches. I found that out real quick. So that should have been 24 inches, but it's 22 because I had to trim it down after I sew them together. So because different people have different definition of scrappy. Some this is scrappy to me because it's not the same fabric. Others, it's different pieces. Scrap fabrics, which I like to do that too, because my scrap pile is growing.
I have that feeling. Mine just, like blew up an 11-gallon size trash can, so I had to go through it and try to narrow it down so I make more room. Brenda says I need to watch the replay, and great to get to know you more about you. And Patty says, Lawayne, I love Scrappy. I hope this helps. I think we're good to go, and maybe next time we'll see you. And maybe sometime soon or later, maybe Lawayne and I will collab again and do a sewing project.
I'm going to let y'all in on a little secret. Sometimes I say, sometimes I don't. When I say hi, baby cakes, that is a reference from Tell of the Two Cities. That's what Mouse used to say to his friends. That's how he would greet them. So when I say hi, baby cakes, I'm saying hi to my friends.
Shirley says, thanks for the great interview. It has been great to
Thank
get to
you. Oh, you missed it. You missed most of it, darling. Hope you're a darling. That's just.
Yeah.
That's the Texan in me. Okay, we call.
I have a brother that lives in Texas right now, and so it's kind of. He lives over by Austin. I think that's not too far from Dallas, is it?
Where?
Is Austin too far from Dallas?
Dallas is here. Austin's there. Austin is closer to Houston.
Okay. But
It is one party town.
I want to be away from snow. That's where I want to be. I don't.
Well, you're Texas and you're pretty good. Stay out of the Panhandle, because that's it's because I'm from Dallas, so it was always a running joke. If there was ever a chance of snow, the kids from Richardson, they would be the first ones to call in on the radio to find out his school was closed. Even if there was just like a little inch of snow, or the school's closed.
Miss Ellen says my scrappiness is all about using what you have, cotton for one.
Yeah.
And Elizabeth says she's sorry that she's late, and hi to Lawayne, and she has a son in Sherman, Texas.
Yeah.
So, well, Elizabeth, you'll have to watch the replay. He's kind of gave all out his answers, and we're gonna just go ahead and hop off. And I really appreciate you all for coming and getting to know Lawayne. I really enjoyed it. I hope you did.
Yes, thank you.
I know you were nervous at first.
Yes.
It's nervous to me because it's my first interview with you.
Yeah.
I more of wanting to help you.
Yeah.
And I knew that you had issues with your previous account.
Well, most of the nervousness is because I'm not used to talking about me. It's like I was, that's just the way I was taught. He's like, you don't talk about yourself, and no, whatever.
I you
Sometimes,
thankful?
sometimes my brain is faster than my mouth, or my mouth is faster than my brain.
It's one of those.
You'll see that in the video. Sometimes I say that, it's like, okay, and I'm not editing that out. It's like, oh, I'm not going back and editing. What you see is what you get.
And a reminder, it is be kind, be creative, be loved, and be unique, and be you. We will see you all next time.
Thank you for everyone's show.